gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the 217 Horror Podcast. Hopefully, we bring you either some relaxation or some fright, whichever you
Or
prefer,
annoyance, or the
on this Sunday night or whenever throughout the week you may be watching. Of course, I am your host, the Jameus, and I am joined by the always lovely, always present Ash Rose. Ashley, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm great. How you been? How are things over there in the office?
She says The Office like I'm Steve Carell, but unfortunately I am not. I've had a pretty decent day. I just got back from seeing The Running Man tonight.
Oh, shut up. You did? Was it any good? That's a remake.
That is a remake. Actually, no, it's not, technically. It's a different interpretation because it's not a remake of the Arnold movie. The first Running Man is very much a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie and not a Stephen King adaptation. You know what I mean? I still enjoyed it for what it is, but it's not really the same concept. This is more by the book. Of course, they changed the ending because you can't really do that ending in a post 9/11 world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
But I really enjoyed it. Coleman Domingo needs to be in every movie because, like every other movie he's in, he takes it, he makes it a fun time at the theaters, and he can just put himself into anything. He's like a chameleon. But Josh Brolin's great, being maniacal as he always is. Glenn Powell, this is the most he's felt like a movie star, and that's coming from someone who really enjoyed Twisters. Lee Pace was good. I'm forgetting somebody important. Either way, I love the entire cast. The third act feels a little rushed, which hurts the movie for me. Okay. But I do think it's a worthwhile time. I do think it's a much better adaptation. And for some people, it's going to feel a little heavy-handed on the modern message, which I'm not going to get into because this is not a political channel.
Okay.
But I will say if the politics are directly what they were when it was published before we even knew Stephen King was Richard Bachman. So if those politics feel timely, it's because the world has gone a lot closer to what the dystopian concept of the film is than them trying to make it that way. There's a lot of the Edgar Wright kinetic energy found in this movie, which we've never really talked about Edgar Wright on this channel. But if you're a horror fan who's seen Shaun of the Dead, you know exactly what kind of kinetic energy I'm referring to. He has this very particular style. Even from shots to dialogue, it's very much an Edgar Wright film too, which is a fun microscope to put it under. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, I was trying to highlight you so that way you could continue your point, but I messed that up completely in the middle of it.
If you were an author, you'd be Richard Bachman.
I was like, shit, I messed that up completely. Never mind. Go ahead. I wanted to highlight you for this stage.
You cut me off just like a good slasher would.
You're all,
yeah, cut me off at the head.
You're all,
something like out of
that was an accident. I was trying to like remove me and put you.
So I also saw.
Oh man, we're already starting the show off, and I got to edit like.
Honestly, I leave that in. It's fun.
It was good.
Although our audio listeners wouldn't know what the hell's happening.
Like, wait, okay.
So I also saw this weekend one of the other two horror releases. I haven't gotten around to the new Oz Perkins release yet, but trust me, I will. Even though its reviews are kind of poor. I got
Hold on, you're breaking up.
Seeing the Carpenter Son, the new Nick Cage movie, and I thought it was. I'm sorry. So I got around to seeing the Carpenter's Son, right, with Nick Cage. I thought it was interesting that they used the Gospel of Thomas, which for those of you who don't know, is not considered biblical because it's not in the Bible. It's one of those later discovered, a lot of scrutiny around the theological accuracy of the Gospel of Thomas. So it's not one of the books in the Bible, which is an interesting concept to do. And it's a fun little concept to play with, but I don't think they went far enough, especially if you're going to adapt a religious text that most people in the church find heresy anyway. Don't be afraid to piss people off with it, because you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if you're adapting the Book of Job and it's going to alienate half the people that can buy tickets, but this is never going to do that. And I just feel like they didn't do a good job exploring the supernatural concept that they tried to do, which is what I judge a movie by. But Nick Cage gives a good performance, so we love Nick Cage. Great goth actor, even though he doesn't feel goth. Over the last couple of weeks since our last show, I've watched a lot of horror. Some great. I watched Eyes Without a Face for the first time. Which of course is more popular as the title of a Billy Idol song, but that was taken as an homage to the movie. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was excellent. I'm not the biggest fan of 60s France horror, but I thought that was very enjoyable. I've seen some not so good. The Sandman, which we're going to talk about on this show.
I thought it was called Mr. Sandman.
Mr. Sandman.
Not to be confused with the Netflix show and the comic book. That's good.
Not to be confused with the old ECW Kendo Singapore cane swinging beer against the space guy.
Not to be confused with the song Inner Sin by Metallica.
Well, I'm more of a sad but true guy myself, but
I haven't seen it, so I remember I asked you, how is it?
I thought we were both going to watch it between the shows.
I didn't get around to it. I got distracted with Derry, and I got distracted with other things that I randomly started watching. But I asked you. Huh?
So you've seen Welcome to Derry?
Yeah, I told you. I saw it. I've been watching it.
Okay. And we're going to get to that on this show, too. I watched, continue what you were saying with being busy and not getting around to it.
Well, I had texted you and I had asked you. I was like, hey, did you see it? And you're like, I have thoughts. Like, not good. You're all, not good.
Usually when I use the phrase, I have some thoughts, that means it was not good, but it wasn't a waste of time. Because it made me think something. It made me, if I'm thinking about your movie after I watch it, that's a pretty good sign. You at least made me feel a certain way. And I think the worst thing a film can, or any art, doesn't matter if it's an Edward Munch painting or a Michelangelo sculpture or a Bruce Springsteen song, any kind of art.
Did you pronounce Michelangelo as Michelangelo?
Look, I've been to Florence. I've stayed in Florence. I more than anybody I saw the David with my own eyes. The tour guide was literally calling him Michelangelo. Like, that's a thing. That's one of the ways his name is pronounced. It's always been
I was just curious. Okay, go ahead.
So, but yes, I did call him that. Not to be confused with the real Michelangelo, the turtle. I think that the most important thing a piece of art can do, whether good or bad, is make me feel a certain the worst thing a piece of art can do is make me feel nothing.
Okay, fair enough. So it made you feel stuff. What were your feelings?
Oh, are we going into that now?
Yeah. I want to know, what did it make you feel?
Okay.
Was it disgust of how bad it was? Was it? Oh, so you were confused. Okay.
It's not that I was confused. The plot was pretty straightforward, I guess. So, for what it's worth, this was like a 2017 sci-fi creature feature movie.
I did not think it was that, based off of the cover, based off of the description. But okay.
If I watched the right movie, because you said
no, you watched the right one, because I sent you the screenshot and you were like, okay. I know, Jameis, you would not get that confused.
So, and I went into it going 2017 sci-fi. They were doing The Expanse at the time. They were doing 12 Monkeys at the time. That's some damn good sci-fi. Okay, may not be the best production value. It wasn't, but I enjoy a lot. Van Helsing was on at the time. I enjoy a lot of what sci-fi was back in 2017. So maybe this won't be too terrible. You know what I mean?
So you had some high standards going in.
I didn't have high standards, but I didn't have
Did you have hopes going in? Did you have dreams?
I've never had dreams. So there's a shot, and they use the same transition shot like 8 times in the movie.
Why not? They had to save.
Hold on. But there was specifically one time it goes from this very like blood splatter shot and jarringly just goes right into like an aerial shot into the aerial shot they used like 8 times. It was the same one. But it was of an aerial shot of the city that they're supposed to be in. Look, I know like one of the tricks of aerial shots of cities is to just like make a model of the city and then shoot it like it's a real scale. The scale model is the actual thing. It should not be that obvious when you're watching it. But it goes straight from like the blood splatter straight into it. It was just like, I got whiplash just from watching that. Then there was another shot where the sand goes off the neighbor's exhaust pipe, and that's how the Sandman gets like into the car. But it looked like put it afterward with like.
What is the plot?
So the plot basically is Hillary Duff's sister. I can't think of her name, but her
sister, my God, Hillary Duff's sister
is the star of this movie.
Oh, fucking hell.
And her brother dies. But her brother is the suspect of a murder investigation when he dies. The reason they think he was the guy who murdered somebody was because he was going to the shady parts of town trying to figure out what was wrong with his daughter, like visiting doctors, stuff like that. She has no other living relatives. And his daughter has to be taken in by the what's her face? I can't think of her name. I'm gonna look it up now because that's gonna drive me crazy. Haley Duff. Haley Duff is her name. So Haley Duff takes in her niece, and so her niece has this condition where every time she goes to sleep, because she had been read the book of The Sandman, which is, for those of you who don't know, is an old child's fable, is the Sandman comes to life in her dreams and kills everybody who's making her feel stressed out. Which is why her father was being investigated for murder in the first place. Because the Sandman killed somebody.
That's it.
That's there's more to it, but that's basically the premise. The issue is they don't stick with the established lore at all. Like by the end, the Sandman just comes out even though she's not asleep. Like I remember going, wait, what? There is one part though where the social worker who's trying to take her away from her aunt gets killed and gets absorbed and evaporates into sand. And it's actually a really cool shot for a movie like this. But she gives this faint little scream in the process that doesn't fit like the shot at all. And I remember going, why do you have to ruin the most redeeming part of this movie? There was a couple of surprises though. There was there was that one nice surprise of who's the guy? The guy Tobin Bell, the guy who plays Jigsaw, pops up. It's always good to see him in anything horror related. It was.
That's it. Horror Vixen 25.
Weird. Okay.
No more suggestions.
Oh no, I want more suggestions from Horror Vixen 25. Because you know what? For as many questions as I had about this movie and how it got made, I had a good time with it. Look,
you had a great time.
Is it good? No. Is it gonna win Best Original Movie Made for Television at the 2018 Primetime Emmy Awards? No. Is it going to win any Screenplay Awards? No. Is it going to win any VFX Awards? Hell no. However, there's a certain charm found in low budget, made for TV horror that only the genre can have that I really appreciate. There's a commitment to the bit there. Like, we're just throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks. And you know what? Makes for a good time. Doesn't make for a coherent time, but it makes for a good time. And honestly, when has horror really ever been coherent?
True.
So I kind of hold it to different standards than other genres.
We do have more recommendations from a lot, but I'm going to go ahead and pick Homie Hollow. The three.
That's not a movie?
Huh?
That sounds like a movie. I thought it was the movie at first.
No, that's the username, Homie Hollow. All three are very different. All three are different from different time periods. He said Savage Land, Rawhead Rex, and The Last Winter.
Savage Land, and that would be from 2015 on. I'm looking at it now. The Last Winter would have been 2006. That's interesting.
And Rawhead Rex. I haven't seen Rawhead Rex or The Last Winter, and I saw Savage Land the year it came out.
Okay.
But I would have to watch it.
So The Last Winter is currently on Shudder. I'm looking at this. It stars Ron Perlman. That's a pretty big name for what I'm assuming is a made-for-TV horror movie. Ron Perlman, of course, character actor, Sons of Anarchy, Drive. He's in that.
You don't have to explain it.
Oh, I was okay. What's interesting is it's directed by Larry Fessenden. I'm looking at it now. I've only seen one movie from him, but it was Depraved from 2019, which is kind of more modern take on Frankenstein. I love that movie.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I loved that movie, so I'm 100% down with that suggestion.
Okay, well, it's Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman is the winner for today, so we're gonna look into that movie. We have a bunch of other people from Slasher TV that have made recommendations. Those were the three, and that's why I was like, I'm gonna pick him because he was first.
Not to go comedy again, but to quote the great Will Ferrell, if you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah.
No
one knows exactly what that means, but it means exactly what it is. If you ain't first, you're last.
The the great Ricky Bobby. So speaking of winter horror, I watched 2 first-time horror watches for me this week, Christmas related. I watched Black Christmas.
Black Christmas is good.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I figured you would.
I'm surprised it took me that long to get to it. Mm-hmm. I thought the twist was a little obvious, but other than that, I really enjoyed it. I love a good mystery on top of like the thriller aspect of it. And I watched a supernatural horror called Wind Chill with Emily Blunt.
I heard of that one.
That was really fun. So basically, the characters never get named in this movie, by the way. Like, all of them have no name. So this girl needs to go, Emily Blunt, and this is right after Devil Wears Prada, so she is young in this movie. Like, this is before she like became a big movie star and all that. She needs to go home to Delaware for the holidays. This guy from her class pretends he's from Delaware so he can spend time with her and offers to give her a ride home. Their car breaks down in this abandoned strip of street, and it's on the one night a year where that street is haunted. And so basically, they have to stay in their car the entirety of the time and risk getting frostbite because their car is dead, or deal with these different ghosts that are haunting them and trying to murder them. I wouldn't say it was great, but I had a good time with it. I enjoyed it. So that would be it. That's on Netflix. I think it's on Tubi too. So that has my stamp of approval. I like a good, just one location, small cast, 2000s horror. I love stuff like that. Doesn't take itself too seriously. Just a good time. Other than Welcome to Derry, which we're going to get to, what have you been watching the last couple of weeks horror-wise?
I saw all of Welcome to Derry, so up to the recent episode. I saw The Toxic Avenger, the new one. Not really horror, but I honestly, I enjoyed it, but I'm a trauma fan to begin with, so I like The Toxic Avenger, so I didn't have a problem with it, but I could see why people didn't like it if you didn't know what The Toxic Avenger was. Very campy, very gore still. Peter Dinklage does a great job. I think it's hysterical that something that was based off of a trauma franchise film had a bunch of like known actors that were like high level actors, which is what I found entertaining about it.
Peter Dinklage is an underrated actor for me. He's somebody I really didn't enjoy till later. Jacob Tremblay was good in it. I also like Taylor Page and everything she's in. I saw that a couple months ago, and perfect B movie. Talk about a movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, just a perfect B movie, which is exactly what The Toxic Avenger should be. So I'm glad to hear you enjoyed that.
I thought it was delightful. Then again, I like the original Toxic Avenger to begin with. I think Toxic Avenger 4 is my favorite Toxic Avenger.
There's a Toxic Avenger 4?
Yeah, there's 4 parts. There's Toxic Avenger 1, there's 2, 3, and 4 is Toxic Avenger Citizen Kane, which is like 4 is supposed to be the actual sequel to 1.
Right. I think I've only of the original series. I think I've only seen the original.
Yeah, there's 4 of them.
I enjoyed that. It feels like every episode you'll mention a random 4th part of a random franchise. I'm going. They made 4 of those. Yeah, and it reminds me. And
then a cartoon, of course.
While sitting for the Running Man tonight, somebody in the audience during coming attractions went, they've made 7 of the Scream movies. And I was thinking to myself, yeah.
I was actually going to bring up Scream, the new trailer dropped, or the recent trailer dropped to Scream. So
I have two major thoughts on the trailer. One of them is related to the trailer. One of them is not.
It's a Scream movie. There's not much to go into.
Well, to talk about the elephant in the room, I very much think that Radio Silence has reignited the Scream franchise. Like, I thought the two most recent ones with Ortega and Barrera were the two best since the first one. So I very much enjoy, but unfortunately that trilogy is not going to be a trilogy because the whole thing that we don't need to go into with the politics of it. But I do think this movie looks fun. Two things that stand out to me is one, that is Stu's voice at the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
And I really hope they don't just go, oh, he never died. I would love for there to be like a supernatural element to it.
He didn't die. It was mentioned in Scream 3. I recently watched all the Screams.
They retconned that already?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I heard that he didn't die, and I'm pretty sure that it was in Scream 3 mentioned briefly.
Because
the issue is, I rewatched all of them.
I've only seen Scream the one time, but I'm pretty sure that at the end of the first one, he died. I believe Kevin Williamson, who wrote the original movie, has confirmed recently that he did die in that movie.
Yeah, they mentioned in Scream 3 that he didn't die. I believe it's Scream 3. Which I thought was kind of weird to discuss. It's like a one line that's mentioned.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that now and keep my ears on for that. Is that the one where Courtney Cox has those awful bags?
It's just honestly, it's just a horrible Scream movie.
There's a reason I've only revisited the first one and then 5 and 6. I didn't really enjoy 2 through 4 from what I remember of them. But again, I don't remember much of them. Which one is the one where Courtney Cox has that awful haircut?
I am not too sure. I never really paid attention.
Oh, it is Scream 3. Okay, that's what I thought.
But I want to say that that's what I heard because I was like, when they announced, I knew, let me tell you this. I knew that there was a new Scream. I knew there was a Scream 7 coming out. I'll explain that to you off air later, how I knew.
Okay.
But I was like, okay, so if Matthew Lillard's in it, how? So I ended up rewatching all of them because I was like, there's got to be a plot hole somewhere. There's got to be some weird explanation, some weird loophole.
I would love for them to take like Scream into a different kind of direction.
But they won't. It's a Scream movie.
Because at the end of the day, and this was going to be my second point, Ghostface is kind of a loser.
You know, you're going to get a lot of hate for that.
I mean, hear me out here. And I probably going to get a lot of hate for a lot of the stuff I said. And bear in mind, Scream is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I love in fact, my bio on Sasha has a Scream quote. I love the two most recent Scream movies. I'm not anti this franchise. The issue is serial killers in our world get a lot of copycats, right? In fact, there is one literally called the copycat killer because he copied other successful serial killers. The issue is nobody ever copies a serial killer who sucks. Makes it easy to get caught, whatever.
It's a Scream movie. I don't care if it's a spoiler. I've said it. Someone's going to get called on the phone. Someone in Sydney's family will get harassed. And Ghostface is definitely the killer. It's just a basic formula of that franchise, and I highly doubt that it's going to be anything supernatural out of the ordinary.
Even in the first movie, they lean into the fact that horror movies, it's a very meta horror movie. They lean into the fact that horror movies are predictable, all of that, and I get that. But everybody in this town wants to be Ghostface, and Ghostface has never won once. Why did that? That's what gets me.
For anyone that's listening to this show or the channel, do not take this advice. Please do not make it supernatural. None of us actually want that.
I'm not saying to make Scream supernatural. That's not even part of this rant. I'm just saying. I'm saying they should try to do something different. I'm saying make it make sense that Stu is back is where that part came from.
Okay, I don't think it's going to be supernatural, Jameis. I think it's going to be exactly what it is.
To make
don't give them ideas.
I don't want Scream to be a supernatural movie, so I'm just trying to come up with ideas that it's more sensible. And at some point, I think the slasher has to win in a slasher movie. Every Ghostface.
The irony that this is a man that likes rom-coms, but his favorite rom-com is where there's no happy ending. City of Angels.
Hold on. My favorite rom-com is with Harry Met Sally. There is a happy ending in that because he chases her down at the New Year's party and tells her everything he loves about her.
Oh, I thought City of Angels was your favorite rom-com.
No, City of Angels isn't even on the list. It's there's a bunch of, even in the 90s alone, I'm much more of like a Pretty Woman kind of guy, stuff like that. I just like the idea.
The original ending of Pretty Woman
What was the original ending?
The original ending is Julia Roberts is supposed to go back to her apartment with her friend, the other worker. I forgot her name.
Right.
Yeah, and then they go to Disney World. They get on the bus to go to Disney World, and that's how it ends. She never ends up with Richard Gere in the original ending.
Well, she's gotta get spend that money somehow, right?
I think it's either Disney World or Disneyland. I think it might actually be Disneyland because it takes place like in California.
Right. I don't think City of Angels or the other movie I'm about to mention is like this great rom-com. I just like the idea of a City of Angels or A Message in the Bottle, the old Robin Penn, Kevin Costner movie.
No,
Robin Wright. I couldn't think of her actual name. So the old Robin Wright, Kevin Costner movie. I like that there is some. It throws you for a little bit of a loop. You're expecting them to get together. You know exactly how the movie's going to end, and then bam, it doesn't end that way. That's what I like about it. But I don't think they're particularly the strongest rom-coms in general, if that makes sense. But that's just me. No, my favorite rom-com, for the record, so everybody knows, is with Harry Met Sally. I think that's one of the funniest movies of all time. And Rob Reiner was on a tear there, including some horror, Misery, some other good stuff in there. But like that 8-year stretch of Rob Reiner is like perfect. A Few Good Men is in there. Stand By Me's in there.
But yeah, Stu Being Alive, I think it was briefly mentioned in a one line.
I'm going to check that out between
the third one. I'm not sure if it's the second Scream or if it's the third Scream, but I recall that they're sitting in like a like the cafeteria or something, like a college lobby or whatever, or a restaurant, and they're all talking. It's little to like not even care that it's important at the current like movie time, but like I was curious enough to be like, okay, well, I thought he died, and I watched all of them back to back.
It looked like he died.
But I watched all of them back to back, and I was like, well, Matthew Lillard's coming back. How is Matthew Lillard coming back? I think AI would be stupid. Like,
I hope they don't do that. That's the one thing that actually would be worse in a supernatural direction. Is I don't need Scream to be a commentary on artificial intelligence, especially when we have movies that are meant to actually do that, like Tron, not doing it well.
I haven't even seen the new Tron, but also I never got into Tron.
Oh, I think it's one of the most overrated franchises of all time, but In my brain, it was the most recent movie that was. Here are the dangers of AI. And what's funny is these are the same studios that the same people funding these movies are the same people funding AI. But that's just me. I don't need any of the Scream movies to like. I don't mind a horror movie being relevant in real time. I think great horror oftentimes is time sensitive in its relevancy. I think that horror is part of the human expression, and the way humans express themselves is around the human experience, and everything going on in the real world is part of the human experience. But that's not what the Scream movies do. And I don't need the Scream movies to try and become that. Good. But yeah, I just need Ghostface to win at some point. Just for stakes. But it was funny because somebody said that in the coming attractions about Scream is they made 7 of those, or this will be 7. And I thought that was interesting. So that poses the question, Ashley. You get a phone call in the middle of the night.
Oh, God.
Pretend you're Drew Barrymore.
I won't because I don't care.
What's your favorite?
I don't answer my phone at night. I also don't answer unauthorized numbers.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know. I always say Evil Dead 2.
Speaking of scary movies, did you see that we're getting another scary movie?
Oh, see, I was wrong. It was Scream 2.
Okay.
Scream 2. But I could have, like I said, I could be wrong, but I could have sworn I heard, like, a line mentioned that he was still alive, or one of them was still alive.
That's interesting. I need to rewatch Scream 2.
We need to rewatch Scream 2 and 3 to make sure that we're correct.
The only thing I remember about any of those 2 movies, the only thing is Courtney Cox's Scream 3 haircut. That's the only thing I remember about those 2 movies across both of them. I watched them once 10 years ago.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm probably wrong on one of them, but I could have sworn it was mentioned in one of them because I was like looking, I was like, oh, okay, well maybe that's how, but we're going to find out. We'll find out on Scream 7.
And they are making another scary movie as well. I think there's
I saw that announcement not too long ago.
I think there's a lot that you can spoof nowadays because there's so much new horror now. Like they're definitely going to spoof some Jordan Peele stuff like that, which I think is interesting. And it's not like that cast is busy. Like Anna Faris, Sherry O'Terry, I love both of them, but it's not like they're getting the most work of any actors from old franchises right now.
I mean, Anna Faris was busy doing sitcoms.
Even then, Mom ended like 5 years ago. Like she's not busy.
Saying, like, I don't think she's really hurting.
Oh no, she's not only is she not. She had made a lot of good money in her career. I get it. Like I'm not. I love Anna Faris. I'm not criticizing. I think she's hilarious on that show too. I love that show. I just rewatched it recently. But obviously they got everybody back. I'm happy to see they got everybody back, and I hope this boosts a couple more careers. Like Chris Elliott is somebody I would like to see have a nice little career resurgence kind of thing.
We better move on to Derry because we're running out of time.
Oh shit, we're 40 minutes in. Oops. So 3 episodes have dropped of It Welcome to Derry. I have watched all 3 episodes, and from what I gathered, so have you.
Yeah. The last episode I didn't quite see the ending. I had to catch up on it later because I ended up going to bed early that day.
Right.
But I did not early as an aspect of like, oh, right when the show aired. I ended up watching it like a day later.
Right. I tend to watch that a couple of days later. The only two recent HBO shows that I've gone out of my way to watch as they air were Peacemaker and Hacks, just because those were two of my favorite shows of the year. But the thing with it, Welcome to Derry, is I have a couple of thoughts. One, I really like that because it's a prequel and the only character from the actual movies is Pennywise, means that we don't have plot armor in this show. Like, any of the characters could theoretically die at any moment. And I feel like that gives the show a lot more oomph than a lot of horror shows tend to have.
Going to assume that everyone's going to die because this takes place during the time period of those news articles that were mentioned in the first film. And I'm not talking about the Skarsgård one. I'm talking about like the original adaptation.
The Tim Curry one.
Yeah. But it's also in the book. Stephen King tends to go into like a long history of everything when he writes.
Right. It's not like, oh, this little girl's gonna grow up to be Jessica Chastain's character. We know she's gonna live. You know what I mean? Like, we know she's probably going to die. They're probably gonna die at some point, but we don't know when and we don't know how. So it builds a lot more anxiety of, could this be the last I see this character or that character? Because one of my favorite TV shows of all time is Supernatural. But for as much as those brothers died, at no point until the finale did you think, oh, that's the last time we're going to see Sam Winchester. Oh, that's the last time we're going to see Dean Winchester. Like, we knew, okay, they're going to come back. And that's kind of the issue that a lot of horror shows run into, that I think Welcome to Derry isn't going to run into, which makes me excited. And the other thing I really like is we haven't seen through the first 3 episodes, and I'm going to try to refrain from spoilers as much as possible, but I don't think this is like a big key giveaway. We haven't seen Pennywise in clown form yet.
Yeah, that's what's interesting about it, is I'm wondering when we're going to see him in clown form.
Right.
We've seen him in other forms, that's for sure. I think it's more of like him as a creature, alien, whatever Pennywise is, trying to, I'm not sure exactly what Pennywise is. I'm sure someone's going to comment or make a comment about like what it is at some point somewhere. But it's interesting, all the different forms.
He's a shapeshifter, I think, isn't he?
Isn't he also like extraterrestrial?
Yeah, he's from the Macroverse, which is a void outside of our solar system.
Besides the point, it's interesting to see the different forms he's trying.
Right.
So right now it's like he's more or less using fear to catch his prey. So it's going to be interesting when he transcends to clown form to lure his prey. So when did he come across that?
How did he figure out that's the most efficient way?
Like, exactly. Like, how did he decide that was the best approach?
And I think that does more to explore the lore of not only Pennywise, but the town itself. Because Killer Clown on the loose and on a rampage running roughshod through the sewers sends a whole lot of panic. But a shapeshifter turning into your worst nightmares, catching you off guard in the grocery store or in the cinema, that's the easiest way to make you look like you're going insane, and the only thing afoot is you. And I wasn't the biggest fan of the first 3 episodes, but I will say the scene in the cinema at the end of the first one, and the scene in the
slow burn,
and the scene in the grocery store in the second episode are two of my favorite singular in a vacuum scenes of horror this year.
It's a very slow burn, but that's that's what I expect from anything that's adapted from Stephen King or based off anything from Stephen King. Is I expect it to be slow, and then it gets to exactly what you're talking about.
I think for me is I'm just not like a huge fan of some of the subplots explained. Like the military operation thing is just not.
Well, it's gonna all hopefully if it's done, correctly, it's gonna all tie together eventually
Right.
at the end.
And there are a lot of shows where something gets executed down the road that makes me go, oh, I love that. That makes the entire thing that maybe just wasn't connecting with me properly worth it down the roads, which I've enjoyed enough of this show to continue to want to watch more of it. And when you're 3 episodes into a show that's going to take a while to get where it needs to go, as long as I feel like it's still worth my time, I'm all on board entirely. So I very much enjoyed the first 3 episodes. I really like that we haven't seen Pennywise in traditional Pennywise form yet. I feel like that's something they could have easily decided to rush and show us in the first episode just to generate buzz, like because even people who don't know it know Pennywise kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I could see a lot of franchises and studios going, where's Pennywise? But I really like that they're building up to Pennywise because the moment he does transform into Pennywise, it's going to be some scary ass shit. It's gonna be really frightening, and I really like that. I think
more frightening is Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård or Tim Curry.
Skarsgård easily.
I think Tim Curry to me.
I always found Tim Curry a little more cartoonish, but maybe that's because Tim Curry makes me laugh.
Like I always felt that Tim Curry was a little bit more creepy in the aspect that he was more approachable as a child, like for a child.
That's a great point, and that's fair. Anything that's going to hinge on abduction of children, the more natural they feel, the more frightening it is because it feels like there's authenticity to it that makes you feel, oh, I might fall for that. I'd be screwed. And that's inherently scary. For me, thinking on a more basic level, like I find the Bill Skarsgård Yo Float 2 kind of thing scarier. I find the voice, I find the whole package of what he brings physically, vocally, all of that to be a more frightening package. But that also, it doesn't need to be frightening if you're trying to make it scary in a realistic kind of way. So I can see exactly why you would go with Tim Curry. But no, I very much like the show so far. Andy Muschietti's doing a lot of good things with the franchise. Because I love the first 8 movies. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And I know people didn't love Chapter 2, and I don't think Chapter 2 is nearly as good as Chapter 1, but I enjoyed that movie too. Maybe it's just because I enjoyed that cast. I like everything Jessica Chastain does, so there's that. And, of course, the guy from Split, why am I blanking on James McAvoy. I love everything he does. Bill Hader's always great. So maybe my enjoyment of 2 was not so much on the movie itself, just the cast, but I've enjoyed both of the movies, and so far I'm enjoying Welcome to Derry.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I think we're done for tonight. I mean, we have no other notes, do we? The mummy. The mummy. We got to talk about the mummy. And
you know who I love? And I mean one of my favorite movie stars of all time? Rachel Weisz. And I'm so happy that she's going to... What?
I thought you were going to say Brendan Fraser.
I like Brendan Fraser, too. I just watched School Ties for the first time yesterday. I watched...
I haven't seen School Ties in a long time.
I watched... for me, I thought the better Brendan Fraser school movie is With Honors with Joe Pesci. I watched Bedazzled for the first time a couple of weeks ago. He has
I'm surprised that was the first time you've ever seen Bedazzled.
He has a new movie coming out called Rental Family that I'm really excited for. The Whale really won me over on him a couple years ago. I watched that for the first time on a plane flying from London to Tampa. And you know what? A really weird movie to watch on a plane. But what?
Did you cry? Did you have a few tears that you were holding?
No, I've never cried during a movie.
Really?
Speaking of Jessica Chastain, the closest I've ever gotten to crying during a movie was a Jessica Chastain movie, since we were just talking about the It franchise. It was in Interstellar when Jessica Chastain sends in the video to Matt McConaughey that says, today I'm the same age you were when you left. That almost gets me every time I watch it. That's a really well done scene.
Mile.
But that's the closest I've come. I've never cried during a movie.
Not The Green Mile, not The Notebook, not The Color Purple.
I've never seen the original Spielberg Color Purple. That's one of like 3 Spielberg gaps for me, and it's one of
really good.
The issue with, bear in mind, Ryan Gosling's one of my favorite actors. I'm very much a fan of Rachel McAdams. I didn't really care for The Notebook when I watched it, but I watched it when I was like 13, and those kind of movies weren't my thing. So maybe I'm doing a rewatch.
You didn't cry during The Green Mile?
No. Another recent movie that almost got me but didn't was We Live in Time. But no, I've never cried during a movie. I'm
surprised. But anyways, back to the Mummy.
Look, I'm dead inside. It's not a badge of honor. I've become a really big Brendan Fraser fan over the last couple of years. But I was more happy to see Rachel Weisz on the call sheet because I've always been a big fan, and she's kind of taken a couple years off. I know her husband's doing a lot of big work. James Bond and Knives Out means you probably don't need to work for a little bit.
I've been waiting to see Knives Out, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years.
I've been waiting to check it out, though.
But I'm so glad she decided, hey, let's start working again, because she's awesome. She's such a gifted actress. And her and Fraser are the whole reason The Mummy worked originally. I don't know how much you remember of the Tom Cruise Mummy movies.
I saw there's more than one.
I think there's 2.
Oh, I only saw one, and I saw it in theaters. So
there might only be one. But that movie I've never seen it, but I've heard it's not good.
It's a Tom Cruise movie after Mission Impossible. What do you expect?
Hey, Tom Cruise has had some awesome movies the last couple of years.
I mean is that it's, how do I politely put it?
It's a Tom Cruise movie, meaning he does a lot of stunts that aren't necessary for the movie, kind of thing.
it's, if you've seen Mission Impossible and then you saw the Mummy with him, it's
Kind of like I was saying earlier about how The Running Man is an Arnold movie. It's not a Stephen King movie.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I can buy that. The thing I've heard though is that it's treated as like a serious horror film. Can you confirm or deny that?
It was supposed to be a relaunch of I think the Universal Horror. I'm sorry, the Universal original horror franchise, but it never kicked off.
So the reason, and I haven't seen it, so maybe I need to watch it, and maybe my opinion will change. The reason I've heard that didn't work is because it was treated like a serious horror, and that's not what The Mummy is. The Mummy is like.
I don't think it was supposed to be part of the Mummy franchise, is what I'm saying. I believe it was supposed to be like a launch of the upcoming Universal horror with Dracula, the Mummy, the Invisible Man, and stuff like that.
Okay. I was gonna say
it has nothing to do with the Brendan Fraser films.
The thing that works about the Brendan Fraser movies is I don't take them seriously. I just want to hang out with the two of them.
Yeah, from my understanding, it's got nothing to do with that. It's the Tom Cruise movies. Completely two different films and franchises.
Obviously, if you want to make a Mummy movie, you have to bring back Brendan Fraser. But I think it's just as important you brought back Rachel Weisz. I don't want to see it without either of the two of them. And I'm looking forward to that. It's nice. I feel like this relaunch of the Brendan Fraser version has been rumored since he won for The Whale.
Mm-hmm.
And we've just never gotten it. So it's nice to see that we're finally getting it. Tentatively looking forward to it. Of course, I need to see a trailer because it's been 25 years since the first movie. I mean, the first movie I think came out before I was born. And I don't know if that's right or not, but it sounds right. I think that predates me by 2 or 3 years.
The Rock was in WWE, okay?
Right. Are we getting the Scorpion King back?
Yeah. You got to remember that The Rock was still in WWE as a wrestler.
The Rock was probably reigning WWF champion at the time.
Yeah, and then there was the Scorpion King. So all that was around that time.
The Rock was probably. Here's the thing. It's so long ago that when you say The Rock was in WWE, people would have looked at you with two heads if you said The Rock is a WWE wrestler. Because WWE wasn't called that yet for a couple more years.
Same universe.
Yeah.
We can't say WWF due to the wildlife organization.
Right. I'm just saying it's so long ago it wasn't called WWE yet. It's a good way to put it into perspective. Because it's so long ago, I could easily see the movie them just not having the magic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You never really know until you see footage. But on paper, I like it. I think it's a good time to bring it back. I think that's going to be a nice fun. We're in a world where Final Destination successfully just got relaunched.
Yeah.
You can successfully. We were talking earlier about the new Scream movie, Radio Silence. Brought the Scream movies back to its original glory. We're in a time where if you let people who want to create these movies that they grew up on, it's not just a nostalgia trap anymore, more cash grab anymore. You can have a fun, good movie because you're letting fans of the material, right? It's a non-horror example, but we just had a really good Leslie Nielsen style Naked Gun movie in 2025 of all things. So I think you can get it done, and I'm excited for it. Do you have any quick thoughts before we wrap up on it?
No, we'll wrap up.
Where can the good people find you, Ash?
At A Rose Distortion on every social media platform. You can go to deatharts13.com as well. That's XIII and also deatharts13. deatharts13.com as well. It all goes to the same page. We got a shop, support us there, and of course, support our sponsors as well.
We love our sponsors. We also love you. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to like, subscribe, share our podcast if you think somebody would want to listen to it. And of course, you can find me at the Jameus on
Very easy.
Fairly easy to remember on Twitter, and I am on Sasher at Jameus Mooney. That's also my letterbox if you want more of my thoughts on movies. Thank you so much for listening.